Hi, it's Sandra. How are you? Welcome to Voices of Humanity. It's not your fault or mine, but together we can do something about it.
Voices of humanity, we need to hear your voices. We need to hear your voices.
Hey, welcome to Voices of Humanity at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. I'm Sandra Mckechney, your host. It's a privilege to be here. All right, so Voices of Humanity, it is fueled by double consciousness. Double consciousness is two streams of thought, two social identities, has everything to do with the people that descendants of the sub-Saharan trade, those that came across the transatlantic slave trade, apartheid, colonization, imperialism. It has everything to do with how they show up, why they show up, how they show up in the 21st century. Again, I'm officially Sandra Mckechnie. I am a certified life coach, and I coach through an anti-bias, anti-oppression lens, and I coach all women, besides that want to leverage all their experiences and all that they've been through, good, bad, or indifferent, and leverage it toward living your best life. And I offer trainings again called Double Consciousness through an anti-bias, anti-oppression lens. And I do this podcast, and I would love you to subscribe. The content's great. The guests are great. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful. All right, so I've got a couple of lovely, wonderful people. I know one person's here, and I hope I'm going to get the others in. The other lady, and hey, you're here. The guy did this differently today, but that's the spice of life. It's all right. Um, Wonderful to see you guys here. This is good. We want some these individuals. I am going to read their bios first, and then we have some. They're going to get into some stuff. I really want you to find out about this organization. It's actually a non-profit social enterprise, and they're going to tell you a little bit about that and about themselves and what they're doing. You're going to find out about this. I subscribed, and because this is a great thing that these people are doing today. This is a Sunjit, and there's Amanda. Figure out which one's which. But anyway, they're here today, and they're going to tell you all about this enterprise. It's going to be great stuff. Let me just read a little bit. I'm going to do Sunjit first. Sunjit Kamba. I'm saying that wrong. How do I pronounce it? Kamba?
Sunjit Khauba.
Sunjit Kamba. I might do it wrong again, but you can feel free to correct me. All right. I'll say Sanjit Khauba brings 10 years of experience in strategic development and 7 years of experience in JEDI. He's going to tell us about that. Justice, equity, diversity, decolonization, inclusion. As the co-founder and impact lead at Jelly Social, a nonprofit organization supporting BIPOC professionals, he regularly develops programming that empowers each of us to use our collective voices to change discriminatory business practices. Now let's go to Amanda.
Hello. Good to see you. Thanks.
I'm going to read a little bit about you first.
Do you think?
That's all right. We're going to tell them a little bit more, but I just want to let them hear it first. Let it kind of seep in. Amanda Russell is a connector, legal advocate, change agent, event planner, networking diva, and mom to her adorable daughter, who is turning 6 this year. Nice. She founded We Can Network in 2012 and is one of the co-founders of Jelly Social. We're having our other co-founders right here. Sunjit, a nonprofit networking group that has over 4,000 members and is focused on helping people in the BIPOC community by connecting and creating new collaborations to provide more opportunities to help eliminate the BIPOC tax with their online and offline events. Jelly Social was founded by Sunjit Khauba and Amanda Russell in 2015. Yay! Welcome, guys. Official welcome to you. This is good. So first off, I would love people just to know about you, the people, Sunjit and Amanda. Just a little bit about you and how you got to Jelly Social. And so it's probably going to be the same because you're connected with each other and now you have this wonderful partnership collaboration. So should we do ladies first or should we don't bother with that? You want to put Sunjit on?
Yeah, put Sunjit on. Let's go. Let's switch it up.
You just flew in or rushed in, so give her a minute. All right. So Sunjit, tell them a little bit about you. who you are, why you're doing this, and how you got here anyway.
Yeah. So, I'm very passionate about, creating a world where we can all kind of thrive, have equal outcomes together. I've always been, very passionate about that, very outspoken about the topic as well. I've had a lot of experiences in my life where I've seen, a lot of the harmful impacts of racism, discrimination, and things of that nature. And I've tried to turn all of that into something positive, so that we can kind of, I can inform, educate, and also live an example as well, in terms of how we can do things better as a collective society here. Now, Jelly Social, the way that came about was that is me taking that philosophy and just ramping it up amplifying it several degrees. I philosophically believe that, if you have a philosophy and you want to put it into motion, then you build a business around it, because that's what's going to get people together, get action together, get movement happening around a certain philosophy. So Jelly Social started with that whole thing in mind, where we thought, okay, what is it that we can do better collectively coming together, so that we can create better conditions for, BIPOC individuals and individuals who have, historically faced, discrimination and bias. So Jelly Social came about initially as a way for us. In the very beginning, Jelly Social was just a way for us to come together and to share our thoughts, share our networks, share our connections, share support with one another, and reciprocate. So really the only way we feel that can happen is if you bring people together physically in a room. And Jelly Social started that premise in mind, where, hey, you know what, let's get people together in GTA who have some lived experiences, some things that they want to share on how they can do things better, and let's just have a conversation in a coffee shop. So literally started with just like 5 people, and now several years later, we're at a community of about 4,000 people, and we still host these monthly gatherings as a way to kind of align each other and to actually foster change.
Okay, is that the networking, or is just a gathering that you have? That's the networking you're talking about.
It's the networking. So we actually call it village building. Networking is kind of like a term that we're phasing out. Village building is really what
I like
we're all
that.
about.
Good for you guys. Village building. I'm part of this village building network.
Yes,
It's wonderful.
Yes.
I just signed up, Amanda. I feel so good.
Welcome to the Jelly Village. Yes,
you guys should sign up too. It's really great. You're going to hear more about it and why you should sign up. Okay, I'm not saying you should. A friend of mine said, don't tell people they should. Perhaps you would like to.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend. Okay, so Sunjit, you wouldn't believe there are still people on this planet that don't know what BIPOC is. Do you want to tell them?
Sure. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color.
Yeah.
So we focus our services on BIPOC professionals, primarily because we have professional backgrounds. We've experienced racism, bias, and discrimination in the workplace, in our professional careers. So we saw that as a great avenue where we can directly apply our skills and actually directly create some change, while at the same time gathering really talented movers and shakers, entrepreneurs in the community, and seeing what we can do collectively. So BIPOC, again, Black, Indigenous, People of Color.
Nice. I like the website. Very nice. Okay. And there's a warmth there. It's about community. And I really encourage people to get involved. Okay, Amanda, darling, tell us about you and how you got here, why you got here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say it's been the journey, right? So going into entrepreneurship and learning about the whole networking component, like my background's corporate. So when I jumped into entrepreneurship with the other business I was in, I'm like, okay, how the heck do you meet people? So went to like every networking event out there. And with my event background, I'm like, okay, we can put like a room of professionals together. And then Sunjit and I met, and we're like, we'd love to put something more local together in the Mississauga Peel area. And he had a beautiful space in Mississauga, and we got people to come in, and we all kind of like mastermind together. We'd like write on a wall like all the ideas, resources, we call it what do you call it? Crowdsourcing, like ideas with all the coaches and professionals just in the room was amazing. So being able to see where jelly was about 6 and now almost 7 years ago to how we've evolved throughout the years, I think is huge. And being able to focus now more with supporting our BIPOC people is very well needed, especially right now, I think in this crazy day and time. It's like,
Yes,
more
yes.
conversations happening around it. Yeah, and it creates like a bit more visibility and support. So
Mhm.
it's been amazing to see the collaborations that have come out of what we've created. And we actually, our whole event coming up this month on July 28th is all about create collabos. So we're talking to people who have created new collaborations from our Jelly community, and we're going to be like spotlighting them and them sharing their story. And we love to hear how other new collaborations have like popped up because of the authentic connections that are made at our events. So I think this is where it's so powerful to have that village of people that you know, like, and trust. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's so important to have that support because, family and friends are great, but they're not necessarily the best supporters. We have other like-minded individuals in a room where we can have similar conversations because we're all going through the journey together, different areas, different points, but it's that roller coaster ride, right? And it's nice that now we have this village to help support, provide those resources, and through a Jelly partnership, provide even more support to help them and through our Jelly grant as well. So more to come on that.
I love it, love it. I was looking on the site and there I saw Desiree the Barrows with Tina from Local Street. Of course, I'm part of that coaching collective under Local Street. And I love the collaboration. I love, even this is another connection in there. And then I was on the show with, and I forget her name, on Forex. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Chris. Yes, and that was great too because Desiree sent us there to get interviewed as coaches because we were about to put this little promotional thing together. Yes. So, audience, this is I think it's wonderful and it's so supportive. And I'm finding the more I connect with people, I like this, that it makes such a difference. So I was going to say to our audience now, double consciousness. There's a number of people that have come on here. It's a very new show, but we've had a number of people on already, and this is really all about voices of humanity. Not only the voices, but the faces as well. And I have a friend of mine coming on. She's from India, and she's very concerned about how women, children are treated in South India, and wants to really speak about that. And here we have Sunjit is also from India. Am I correct? I did that, right?
I'm Canadian. My family's from India.
Yeah. Your heritage, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So I don't consider you Canadian though. So I know this is our nation, but I'm really interested in your heritage, and that's great. I was brought here via Barbados, but anyway, I love doing this because the conversation is really, really, really important. That's why I really want to know how you guys have been affected by bias, oppression, racism, even if it's just observing, because I've had a couple of I don't like to say, some people get a little upset about allies, but for a better word, we can change that too, because I love the way that you changed the word to that networking word to village building. Love it. And we have a lot of language under racism, a lot of intersections, right? And a lot of acronyms. And sometimes people think, oh, come on already. It's language. But I always think we have to be so concerned about how because you talk about oppression, this group's oppressed, that one's supreme. It can in a way, sometimes it can be counterproductive, but it allows us to get on the same page, I think, as to what we're talking about. So I wanted to ask you guys personally, in observing your own lives and how you've been affected, even if it hasn't affected you like, in an extreme kind of adverse way, how has racism, bias affected your lives? So obviously one of the reasons probably that you wanted to do what you do. Amanda or Sunjit?
I'll jump in after.
Sure. I was going to say for me in particular, the way that racism, bias, and discrimination has tangibly impacted me in my life is that it's taken away my authenticity. So I've done some posts about this in the past where I really dug deep into this. But growing up here in North America, it often felt like my South Asianness wasn't necessarily something that was accepted here. So what I had to do was kind of water it down. So water down my authentic Asianness so that it was something that was more amenable to white people, essentially. Right, so it's something that wouldn't make them feel uncomfortable or whatever it may be. So that I went through, a big chunk of my life, having to feel like, I would have to be a different version of myself, a watered down version of myself, just to be
Mhm.
able to interact, to do business, to have friendships, to have social relationships. I had to water myself down. And, several years ago, I decided, you know what, not anymore. That's not going to happen anymore. I've, and again, in some things I've wrote, I just kind of dug deep into, what has changed in my mind. And one of the things that I really prioritize now is, being my full authentic self at all
Mm,
times. And
yummy.
and again, if that's not amenable to someone, that's not really my problem, right? I'm going to be me. I'm not going to be Asian-ish. I'm going to be full on Asian, and let's see where that takes me. Now I
Wow,
will also.
that's our double consciousness, by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
Feeling
yeah,
you have
yeah,
to water down here, and you've got these two streams of thought, audience, two social identities, and it takes time
yeah,
because we have to reconcile to this one person again,
yeah.
and leave off. I love that. I love that story. Continue, Han.
I'll also say too that I'm not putting all blame on white people, to be
Absolutely
just be
not.
honest,
Yeah.
because part of it was also me being willing to water myself down. I made that conscious choice, and so I am kind of complicit in the whole thing. But now again, now that I've taken that away, now that I've said that I'm going to be my authentic self, now I've gotten my power back a little bit more.
Yeah. And this is where Sandra jumps in. But I love that. It's yeah, part of it's also you, especially in the 21st
Yep.
century. We have a choice to do something about it. And I always say to people, it's not your fault or mine, but together we can do something about it. But it also is very deep because it goes back, way back. Here we are in the 21st century, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. It's back there in the time warp. There was a lot of oppression. There's a lot of things that came through the time warp for hundreds of years that have colonized, dehumanized, villainized, a lot of lies that we believe, all of us, about each other, which is, and sometimes you don't even know, sometimes you don't know where these things come from. They're so ridiculous. So it's like, but yet they cause people a lot of pain. They cause groups of people that have been classified into races. The darker the skin, the more dehumanized. That would be, a Sunjit and I categorized at the bottom of the rung, and they might be a half a step up because their hair's not nappy, So it's this sort of thing, and just opening this up, audience. This is the most beautiful thing. A friend of mine from India was saying, we were taught that we were better than you guys. That's how we were colonized. Like, you guys are one step below, right? And we're above because we just don't have that nappy hair and we don't just look like you guys, So you guys are slaves, and all of the stuff that we get taught. And I love what you were sharing, and I love the fact that we also, this is beautiful, we want to take responsibility for what we allow, in the 21st century. It's not my fault or yours, but together we can do something about it. That's where the collaboration comes in. But the healing, some of it we have to look at and close the disconnect. Amanda.
Yes, well, I would say, based on my background, like I'm so mixed, right? Like coming from Trinidad, it's a melting pot, right? And we call it, the whole pot of like people. And where like my background is Chinese, Indian, Scottish,
Wow.
Arabic. So when people talk to me, they have no clue. They're like, where are you from? And like, even though we are Canadian born, yes, but where are we culturally? And this is where people ask me, who do you, identify with? I don't identify with like just Chinese or Indian, but I think more with the culture. And this is growing up in Canada. I think I naturally gravitated more to the Caribbean people, right? Because this is what I
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
right? So,
right.
but then the Chinese, I don't fit in with the Chinese. I don't fit in with the Indian. I don't fit in with the white folks, right? So it's like this blend where I always had, again, a melting pot of friends. Like it was a very
Yeah.
diverse group. And in Jelly, we always ask folks when we were doing our own podcast, we're like, what's your inherent and acquired diversity? And this is now where, as a mixed person, being a mom, having the different backgrounds, where we want to show folks that, it's all about, as Sunjit said so well, like it's all about showcasing our authentic self and like just being super real. And I think super transparent. And I think, and especially in today's society, we need that. Like, I know I appreciate
Mm,
on a level so much more with social media, showing all this fakeness and giving people this perception of who they think they need to be. This is where we
right,
just want
right.
to like bring it down and be like, hey man, just come out, be real, be authentic, because that's how you make like better connections. People can see through that.
Absolutely.
Right, and
Absolutely.
identifying with your culture, who you are, and really appreciating where you're from. And I think bringing that to Canada is where we can be celebrate that diversity. And when we say in Jelly, it's like our superpower, right? Each of us bring that superpower
Mm,
to the table. And it's only by educating each other about the different cultural things, right, that we can really appreciate and support. And going out, like we have the Karasagas happening, where you can go out and check out the different cultures. And I think it's amazing. You can check out the different foods, the people, and just seeing Jelly Social, the village that we've built, and like the amount of different diverse people is huge. All
wait,
different.
wait, 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 wait. You went fast. What did you say? Karasaga? What do you have?
Oh well, oh yeah. I'm just referencing Karasaga, like knowing like
Okay.
in Canada, because we are that multicultural. There's still a lot of work to be done. I think a lot of people are keeping their discriminations under covers, but it still exists, right? We see it all the time. Like my husband being from Jamaica, from Black descent, he's Black, Spanish. So our daughter is now like a mix of everybody, right? So
Good for
it's like
her.
right? Yeah, and I think as mixed
Mm,
people, that's where the trouble. Like they just don't know who to go to and like what group they belong to. But now it's like we're all human. At the end of the day, we're all part of that human race. And can
yes,
we
yes.
help connect and empower each other to really celebrate those
Absolutely. That's
diversities?
why I
So
love the show, honestly. That's really
yeah.
why I love being here with you guys because honestly, I remember I was just sleeping. No, okay. Um, no concept of that I would be doing what I'm doing or I would meet you guys. And I remembered I was selling my home. So I guess this was about 7 years ago. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, I got somebody that can sell your house," and blah 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 blah. So he came in, and of course he's Sikh. So he had his wonderful headpiece on. And honestly, I said to my friend, "So here's ignorance for you." I said to him, "Oh my gosh, how's he going to sell the house with that thing on his head?" And my friend said to me, "Are you for real?" Honestly, when we don't know, you don't know what you don't know until you don't know. And then when you can do better. And sometimes it's just it's not an offense to say that you're ignorant. So we're ignorant. And this gentleman has blessed my life so much. Okay. He has directed me, and this gentleman that I thought, is he going to sell the house with a thing on his head? Can you believe? And he has not only sold my home, he did so well by me. He can sell anything. My friend said, "What are you, crazy? He can sell anything." And he sells more than anything and directed me in areas of investment that have done me very well. And I'm just so grateful for that. And when I think about the things I said, that I threw myself under that bus to let people know sometimes we have things we don't think we have bias, right? We don't think we have stuff. And I might think this was just about Black people. It's just us. We've been classified at the bottom of the rung and we're the ones. It's all about us. Well, there's a lot of groups on this planet that have been through a lot of stuff. And we can't be, I think we have to watch how we are kind of psychologically manipulated too, but you know what I mean, by the media as to you're the oppressed ones, poor you. Just think about what that looks like at the end of the day, and how we treat each other, because there's other people that are having and we need to collaborate. That's why I love Jelly Social. We want to collaborate. We want to start treating each other like you said, Amanda. At the end of the day, this is about all of us. This is about humanity. The information we need, though, we must have that. I want to learn about what is that thing on people's heads. Like, give me a break, right? Learn about what that is. Our Indigenous sister was on a few weeks ago talking to us about what it means. The questions people don't want to ask about our First Nations people, our Indigenous people. This is what this show is about. Just giving you information that you can feel really great. You can ask questions. You can just our guests. They're the ones that are bringing that authentic self, and these guys are just being authentic and genuine, so you can learn. Okay, so my next question here for you guys: why Jelly Social? Where'd that name come from?
Gelling together.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
I
we
thought it had
always.
something to do with jelly beans.
Oh well, our first image was like a piece of toast and jam, but it's all about gelling together, yeah, in a social environment, and it's a fun play on words. So I think everyone we've come across, they're always like, "Why Jelly Social?" They love the name, but it just keeps it fun and I think interesting, and it totally is everything we stand for: gelling together and collaborating.
And I'd like to expand on that just a little bit as well, because
Yes, please.
when we say gelling together, and again, we talk a lot about, programs and services for BIPOC professionals, but that
Yes.
doesn't mean that it's exclusive to, BIPOC professionals, and that's done for a reason. Now, for most of our existence as colored people, We
Yes.
have been excluded. We have been
Yes.
excluded, which is what has put us in this situation that we're in right now.
Drop the mic. That's important.
For sure. And the way forward isn't more exclusion. Like, that's not how we move forward. We actually have to be bigger and stronger and better and take the opposite approach, which is all about inclusion, which means that even though we do talk a lot about BIPOC professionals, that doesn't mean that what we're doing is exclusive to BIPOC. What we talk about is bringing BIPOC and Allied together, because the only way forward is when we include everybody into the conversation, into the action together. Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely. That defines a lot of like, even there's questions that people have. Why they're always talking about BIPOC. I love this. We've had a lot of exclusion, but if you see the partners that these guys have, there's a smorgasbord of hello. Okay, there's all different colors up in here and cultures, heritage. And I think that's really important. And sometimes people think that it's just too much. The spotlight's just like, well, you guys, it's not like reverse racism. What's going on? But the exclusion has been severe and the damage has been, wow, So I love that you're just really trying to express that to people. It's not about, like, we're not isolating ourselves from you. Everybody's together, and we have some amazing people that we would call allies too, and I'm sure you guys do. All right. So did you have any more to say on that, Amanda?
Oh, no, I think that,
Okay.
everything was well said. Yeah. So we just love the support that we've been receiving from our Jelly social community and the village that we've built. So it's been amazing.
I had a quick one to jump in with for Sunjit. I saw this article, Obsession with Ownership, and I just thought it was great. And I just wondered where that came from. I have a little bit. Do you mind if I read a little bit of it? Just a little.
Of course. Yeah,
just a little bit of it. Okay, so I was checking out Sunjit, like I do all the guests for the show, and just finding out a little bit more about who they are, Obsession with ownership. This is an excerpt from the article. When the European colonists came over to North America, they brought a disease along with them. I'm not talking about smallpox, measles, and chlorella. I'm talking about the other disease they brought. An obsession with ownership. An obsession where everything you see around you are objects to be owned and exploited. The land, the animals, the resources, you and me. That mentality is a disease. And just like you and I aren't objects to be owned, neither is the land and everything that touches the land. But unfortunately, North America today does work that way. Our people, our businesses, our governments are infected with this disease, this obsession with ownership. And until that changes, you and I are somebody's property. Where'd the mic? Oh, sorry, I'm getting on with my pod. But honestly, that really moved me. And why did you write it? Where did that come from?
Just my beliefs. And when I look around and I see this North American environment, I feel like there's something at its foundational level that I feel needs to change, because it's showing up in our day-to-day interactions. It's showing up in how we treat the life around us, the environment, the people, the businesses that we interact with. There's something at our foundational level which is kind of corrupt, and it's corrupting everything. So I was just doing some deep thinking about it. I was like, what is this thing? What is this thing that I see that really needs to change? And everything came down to that. And it's really rooted in, the fact that other civilizations for centuries and centuries, before European colonists were introduced, other ancient civilizations lived in a much different way. They didn't really care necessarily about, this obsession with ownership or owning things or power or wealth or control. That wasn't necessarily on top of mind for many of these older civilizations. What was top of mind was everybody living together their best life in their best possible way, right? As a village, as a societal village. So it was just like North America. Again, we had indigenous communities who lived that way. In India before the British colonists, or in the Mughal colonists, we had that way of living. In African communities, there was that exact way of living. So a lot of the ancient civilizations actually lived this way. It's just a aberration that came with the European colonists. And the thing that they brought to all the places that they tried to colonize was this mentality that, hey, you know what? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to own everything. I'm going to own everyone. I'm going to own everyone's mind as well. And that's kind of what's resulted in what we're seeing here in North America. And I do think that very much needs to change. If we're going to move forward, that needs to change.
I want to commend you and big up our men right now. Okay. I know we big up women a lot. That's good too, but we got to big up our men. Okay. Because sometimes that alignment is off with how we women can look at our men. You know, I'm all for the women, but it's very rare that we have young men that are wise like this. And that I know it seems few and far between, but you are there. Acknowledgement. Sanjit, thank you for that. Now that all of that seems to go with the compassionate heart of your business. So can you tie that in for me a little bit? Like you guys have, even in your networking, okay, your village building, it seems like a different motivation in terms of, giving and getting. How does that play out?
Yeah, exactly. At the heart of village building is the compassionate heart. And really what that means is, for far too long, again, I think it's something that has been really prioritized by, European mindsets, European way of thinking, where, business has traditionally operated in a way that, you are a dollar sign, I am a dollar sign, and we dehumanize the entire process so that I can extract as much dollars from you as I possibly can. And that makes it very transactional. There's no compassion there when you're just dealing with numbers. When I see you as a dollar sign, I'm not seeing you as a human being. I'm just seeing you as another thing I can exploit. So Fabulous. That mentality, again, it's very Eurocentric thinking, very colonial thinking, and that seeped its way into business. It seeped its way into everything. Everything that we do in North America has been unfortunately biased by this European way of thinking, and it's seeped its way into business. It's corrupted business by kind of taking away the compassion when it comes to business. And when we talk about bringing the compassionate heart back into business, that means simply, I'm not looking at you as a dollar sign. I'm looking at you as a living, breathing human individual, human being with your own thoughts, your own values, and empathizing with all of that as we do business. Not, setting that aside temporarily to do a business, but having that a part of the relationship that we build in business. So compassionate heart, bringing that back, again, just means that we're conducting business with relationship in mind.
Okay, so where did this, how did you guys just connect together to form the partnership?
So Amanda was actually just, running networking events in Mississauga.
Okay.
And I happened to attend her event, and I thought that I'd been going to networking events before that as well. I just found them to be, kind of cold, kind of transactional. But Amanda's was just different. I remember from when I went there was a lot of different things happening within the networking environment and that Amanda was running that I thought was really cool and really a different spin. It was Amanda was doing village building before maybe she even realized that she was doing village building. But when I came in there, that's something that I saw. And I thought, this is something that we can work together on and really amplify. And we just kind of put our heads together, put our philosophies together. We aligned on a lot of things. And then we just kind of, took jelly from there. And there was a lot of, experimentation along the way too. A lot of things that we were testing and experimenting with. But, again, our philosophies were at the center of what we were doing. And now Jelly Social has become, what it is now with our philosophies even more ingrained in the programs and services.
So tell me about, Amanda, the actual networking. What is so unique? I've gone to a few of them. How am I going to feel different about this one when I come?
I truly believe, and I might be kind of biased, but I feel that, when you go into, and I've been to many as well. I'm telling you, I went and checked out every networking event possible. So I brought all the pieces that we like. And I think what really Jelly Social, where we stand apart from everybody else, is that we really make it a very inclusive and warm environment. So when you join, you enter the room, like you can tell who the new people coming into the room. I mean, even still going into a room of people, you're nervous. Like public speaking is the number one fear out there, right? So putting in a full room of strange people, you're like, oh my God, now I have to stand up there and do this 30-second pitch and this commercial. So we wanted to take away that whole old school networking vibe where you come in, you get shoved business cards in your face, and you're like, I don't even know if I like you right now. Like, I don't even know who you are, right? And you're just shoved part of your face. So this is where Jelly Social, we actually said in the front of the room, like, don't come in here, don't like put on your sales hat, remove that hat, put on the collaboration hat. We really want you to come in like and be like, break down that wall, break down that barrier, and just put, what do you need help with and how can we support you? And I think that in itself made people like, you know, less vulnerable, or like we all go in feeling really vulnerable around that. So now they're like, okay, now it's like a safe environment where they can share like what their challenges are, how they need help. And as one lady put it, like seeing a warm, smiling face in the room, like, you know, it's like we help like handhold and make connections. And since we've moved over to Zoom, we still have that vibe. You know, took some, you know, trial and errors with different platforms, but we figured out our groove now, where we still have like 30, 40 people showing up, and everyone that's attend, like, love the environment we've built, even online. You can never replace the offline, but I think having the energy in the room and the people and knowing that you're having the support, and how Sunjit and I met as well, it's like the ultimate collaboration, right? So we came together because of that. And now we foster that environment in everything that we do. And people, I think, truly appreciate that because they're so used to all the other networking things out there. You can go out and pitch and sell and do other stuff at other groups, but we really want you to come in and see how can we help support, like, authentically, organically, right? And share various resources because we're all different, again, growing in business. So we could all share different tips and tricks that help us get to that next point.
Definitely. And refer each other. There may be something like today. I'm hoping that people will sign up for Jelly Social. And of course, I'll put all your stuff under the video. And I love the village building instead of networking. This is wonderful because all over the place, like we have this way of just everybody just copies each other, right? And the originality of your business is fabulous. The originality, I think, is you're unique. And gelling together, Jelly Social. Hello. That is huge. Very nice.
I'd like to just add something too. So something at our events within the first 30 seconds, something that we tell everybody is that you're probably not going to find your next client in this room. But what you are going to find is your next collaborator, your next mentor, your next advisor, your next supporter. So we set the stage again within the first 30 seconds where people kind of, you can almost feel this collective, you know, sigh of relief, because taking off that sales hat and putting on, you know, your relationship building hat, that I think is something that's much more natural to us. And then we kind of encourage that, you know, that way of interacting within our Jelly Social environment.
Where did you come from, Sunjit? You're like a great orator. We'll be voting for you just now. You'll be in politics, all kinds of stuff. They're going to try and get you. I know it.
No, thank you.
I love this. Now, you guys, we talked about a pool, something that you do in terms of, because, you know, it's $5 a month or something. I did the whole year one, but to sign up. So how does that work again when they sign up?
Yeah, for sure. So something that we started doing several months ago, just to kind of extend the impact even further. Now, again, it's because we see entrepreneurs and professionals as influencers. I mean, we are intelligent, we are talented people, we know how to get things done, and we can actually create change in the community. We see that happening at our events, we see that happening among our entire Jelly Social community. So we thought, what's something that we can do to kick this up another level? So what we ended up doing was putting together this program called the Jelly Partner Program. And it is a paid program. As you mentioned, it's $60 per year. But what happens with this program is we have Jelly partners sign up for this. As a partner, we kind of make sure we broadcast them through the Jelly community, as influencers, as make sure they're seen, they're heard throughout the Jelly Social community as a partner. But at the same time, what we do is the $60 that's being paid, $30 of it goes towards this pool of funds, which we call the Bypoc Ecosystem Empowerment Fund. So what that stands for, essentially, is that as we add to this fund, so as our partners are contributing 50% of their partner proceeds into this fund, we are building this and growing this so that we can issue out a grant once a quarter. But the grant does have some ties to it. So when we say empowerment for this grant, we mean that all of us as BIPOC entrepreneurs and ally entrepreneurs have contributed to this pool. It's not some faceless corporation that's trying to do this for PR purposes. It's all of us chipping in $30, $60 a year, whatever it may be, but we're all chipping in and we're all empowered in that we have developed this fund. That's one thing. Then we call it the ecosystem. We throw the ecosystem word in there as well, because the recipient of this grant, again, we launch it, we give it out once a quarter. But the people who contributed to the fund, one person, one of the partners, will receive that $500 to $1,000 grant. But the catch is that grant needs to be spent on business services provided by a BIPOC-owned business. Wow. So anyone can get the grant, BIPOC or ally, but they have to spend it on products and services from, again, BIPOC-owned businesses. And what that does is that's the ecosystem part of it, because now that money that we've collectively put together is now circulating throughout the BIPOC entrepreneur ecosystem. And we're creating ripples of change that can do so much more than me just handing out money, you know what I mean? Or any of us just handing out money. So that's why we call this the BIPOC ecosystem empowerment, or empowerment. BIPOC ecosystem empowerment.
Wow, incredible fun. Sign up, guys. Subscribe. Yes, please, to the channel, my channel as well. But also, I'm specifically talking about Jelly Social. I think this is really good stuff and people need it. And again, obviously the funds are going to a BIPOC business, but yes, because we're really still only a few % of the pie as a whole, so I think it's important.
But
yes, go ahead.
There's still wins all the way around. So for instance, just say for instance, as an example, let's say that you really need the $500 to build a new website, right? Yes. So if you are awarded the grant, what's happening is that those funds are immediately going to a BIPOC-owned website development agency. Yes. Now, the wins all the way around are that you get this very necessary business service that's going to help advance your business, take your business to the next level. And again, at the same time, as I mentioned before, we have now these funds circulating throughout the BIPOC ecosystem. So everybody wins all the way around. And the third win, of course, is that all of us who contributed to this fund, we all can, see the direct impact of our actions.
That's fantastic. Love it. So, okay. So what about this? You got something new that may be coming up. The video, you've got podcasts already on the site, right? You've got the podcast already, don't you?
We've been experimenting with podcasts. We have something that we'll be launching actually pretty soon. A little bit more of an elaborate, a higher production podcast series. And this whole thing has come about again through some of the things that our community has asked for. So, we regularly send polls out to a community just asking, hey, what's a podcast you would listen to? What's some information that you're looking to gather in a podcast? And quite a few of them came back to us saying that they would love us to interview mentor figures, people who are in the mentoring, in mentorship, who regularly take, BIPOC professionals under their wings, really tapping into that community and understanding, what it is that they have to offer, some wisdom that they can share, some insights that they can drop. I hope this is still going, but things that they can contribute. So what we've done here as a podcast is just try to bring those mentor figures in and just kind of giving them a platform to kind of speak, educate others. So this whole podcast series is something that, we're developing some episodes right now as we speak, and we'll be launching our first few episodes probably in September. So that's the podcast series that we have going on. What do you think, Amanda?
Oh, very exciting. And I guess Sandra may have just dropped, but till she comes back, we can hold down the chat. So yeah, no, I think that is fantastic. And just to plug while we're still going live, if you are looking to become or be showcased as a mentor or meet some mentors, our event's coming up on July the 28th. It's a Thursday at 7 p.m. So you want to go to jellysocial.ca, make sure to register for the event, and you can find us on Meetup. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at jellysocial.ca. And we love to connect and meet with other folks that we can feature and be part of our other upcoming events. And I think, like, as I say, mentorship is so important in everything that we do. It just helps us with that learning curve, so we can learn from some of the guys who went through it and hopefully overcome that. So I don't know.
And actually, just to expand on that too, because usually mentorship happens in one-on-one sessions, which is great for that one other person that's in the room. But what we're trying to do with this podcast is try to take mentorship from one-on-one to one-to-many, meaning as a mentor, conveying all the wisdom and all the insights that they have through their years of professional work. Now imagine having them broadcast all of that to hundreds or even thousands of people. So that's kind of the whole basis of this podcast here. And as Amanda mentioned, hey, if you are a mentor or if you have experience mentoring, definitely connect with us, because we're looking for more guests to feature on our podcast, on our show. You can expect something just like this, where it's kind of conversational type of a format. But we would love for you to get in touch and to possibly be a guest. So again, if you have experience as a mentor, then definitely get in touch. Come out to our next event. And as Amanda mentioned, follow us on IG at Jelly Social. And Sandra is back.
Oh. What was that? I was typing in the chat going, what is going on? Guy, are you there? I know, I'm talking about this phantom CEO, but he is there. He must be having trouble. I don't know. Something must be going on. But you guys held it. I am proud of you.
We got you. We're close at this now.
I know. I'm talking to you, and I can see Amanda's face going, well. Yeah. You guys do this all the time. Okay, we were talking about the videos. Okay, I need to come on that show. Mm-hmm. It sounds amazing. It sounds like it's going to be great. And when is you got a little test pilot coming up? That's not something for the public, right?
Yeah, no, so we're actually recording episodes once a week, and we're going to officially launch all of these in September. And as I was mentioning a bit, I don't know if you heard it while you're away, but
I did hear.
Looking for mentors. So any mentors, definitely, let us get in touch with us, and we're happy to interview you on the podcast.
And, okay, so what would mentors be doing for Jelly Social?
Oh, actually, so the whole way I prefaced all this was that our community, when we sent out a survey, a lot of them said that they want to hear more about the wisdom, the advice from mentors. So people who are active, mentoring other BIPOC entrepreneurs, BIPOC professionals. Okay. And really, the whole thing here is that oftentimes as a mentor, you're probably in a one-on-one session with another person and you're conveying great information. But what if we were to take that and amplify the audience? So it's not one-to-one, it's now one-to-many. So that your wisdom, your insights can now be broadcast to hundreds and thousands of people through this podcast. Mm-hmm. So that's really the idea here. Yeah. Okay.
Guys, what do allies look like to you? Some people, there's this, controversy that continues to go on and said, allies, people, there's no such thing as an ally, blah, 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 blah. Or white ally. There's an article that's big about that. And then some people are saying, well, because it does imply that maybe people don't need to have just a 101 or 411 on what that looks like. What is a BIPOC, like what is an ally's role? So it may mean that they're perfect, they're ready, they're good, they don't have any biases, they don't have any challenges around educating in terms of anti-oppression, right? Anti-bias, racism, all of that. So how do you guys, what does that look like for you guys?
I would say an ally is someone who is with the race equity cause. Like if you're with the cause, you're an ally, which means I'm an ally. And, maybe there's white people who are allies. Maybe there's lots of colored people, people of color who are allies, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like if you're with the cause, you're an ally. Essentially, that's the way I define it.
Okay, you froze for a minute. You said something. So if you're with the cause, what was the end of that?
Oh, it said if you're with the cause, you're an ally. And I think
I gotcha. I like that.
I
think we're all allies. This is it. We get caught up a lot in this language, and then there's all this controversy around, because ally, a lot of it, most of the time, it means somebody that's white or, anyway, non-Black or non-BIPOC. And so, yeah, so I don't know, how do you see it, Amanda?
Um, very similar. And I would say it's all about, like, we like to challenge folks and say, hey, you get to diversify your feed. So become an ally by making sure not everybody looks like you, right? So we want to have different people within your group, your village, or however you want to term it. But that way you can learn. It's the only way that we're going to learn from each other, because everybody's looking like you or from your ethnic background, and you're not really learning and growing. And I think the whole human experience is really to go out there and connect with other humans and learn about their various cultures and backgrounds and like the different cultural ways, so we can truly celebrate and appreciate that. And now we understand why folks do what they do, instead of like, taking that ignorant stance and just being, oh, they're just doing this because they're this kind of people. But no, but this is like this certain way, like how they want to challenge, shaving the beards. I'm like, that's a religious thing, right? And you guys want to say that you can work in City Hall now because you have a beard? Like, that is ridiculous. So I'm so happy that they voted that down. But there's so many things popping up these days where you're like, are people insane? Like, it's
I know.
Society, which is sad. But I mean, there's so much more work to be done, and I think this is where we can have these conversations and truly understand each other from that like ethnic, that cultural level. I think that's huge. So this is where we want to bring in the allies, and we say, hey, everyone's welcome to our Jelly Social. We're not excluding anybody. We celebrate the allies coming out because you're learning, right? You're growing. It's all about
I love it. I'm laughing because I'm thinking Sunjit's so different. You guys, it's like, oh, we're all allies. This is it. I love it. Just get that stuff up, because there's been such a huge thing about this in the past couple of years, and I thought, okay, yeah, we need people that, as much as people can do, roll up your sleeves, kind of get in there. If we're treating each other equitably as much as we can, I think. So when you think of two streams of thought to social identities, double consciousness, some of us may have triple consciousness, quadruple consciousness, reconciling with yourself, that sense of self as a person. Whether for me, my dad's mixed race, and then he married this beautiful African woman, gorgeous, can't you tell? And then she produced myself and my sister, and here I am. People say to me, you present white, you act white. And well, clearly, I've been assimilated into this construct, right? Via Barbados, via the slave ships, and here I am. So there's a part of us all, of course, white is all up in our different families, and we've got a whole bunch of different cultures and nations in us and all that. So how do you feel that people should reconcile that, instead of, having this internalized debate and oppression of self? How does that look like for you guys? That's a big question. How do you guys feel about that?
I can take a stab at it. So I subscribe to the theory that we are made up of countless identities. Like there's too many identities to count, to be honest. And I'm taking outside the realm of just the cultural identity, just to clarify that. Yes, I am born and raised in Canada. I have my lineage is from India. But there's other identities that I think really define me too, such as the fact that I'm an artist. I'm an engineer. I'm a creative individual. I'm a giver. I'm a meditator. There's lots of different things that I think make me who I am. And the cultural identity is it's a big part of it. I'm not going to say it's not significant, but I am so much more than just that. And to me, to be able to reconcile all of that is definitely a lifelong journey, because the more I look into it, the more personalities I find, or the more identities I find, which needs to be kind of brought into the collective of who I am.
No, he doesn't have split personalities. He meant identities.
Identities. Yeah. No, I also say personalities, because I think identities and personalities are kind of, I link them together, because, I do act a certain way in one scenario, and I do act a different way in a different scenario. So,
Absolutely.
All of that is it's all me. It's just different versions of me that are coming out at that particular time. So to me, I love them all. I love every single identity and personality and component of myself. And for me to be able to reconcile it all, I have to be able to love and appreciate all that I am. So Amanda, my journey.
Sorry, Amanda, if you have to jump out, go ahead. I can finish with because I know you've got a meeting, right?
Oh, okay. I have 4 more minutes. Right at 2, I'll pop off.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, just sorry, Sanjit, because I remember she has to drop.
Actually, I'll pause right now. We can continue my part of it later, but I want to make sure Amanda can speak too on this.
Oh, yeah. So I would say, like, with me too, I think being from such diverse background is really recognizing and being able to celebrate each of those components. And it's so true. It's just being aware of what I'm bringing to the table. And, like, you know, everyone's going to have a perception, right? So they say as soon as you leave your house, you're on stage. People are going to be judging and, you know, have their own ways and opinions. And that's fine. So it's just being comfortable with being in your own skin now. And I think maybe it comes with age, right? That you start to appreciate all the cultural differences that, you know, we all are from and experience that. Because I know, like, you know, our family from Trinidad, they had their own biases and beliefs. So, you know, my husband being Black, my grandmother would always make the comment being like, oh, I don't want any nappy head children. Right. So, but now,
I hear you.
Right. So,
I hear you loud and clear.
Yes. But it's crazy to me because being from Trinidad, I mean, you have Black, white, Indian, Chinese, right? But then she's Chinese having this kind of bias against Black folks. And now we're a fusion where now she loves her granddaughter. You know what I mean? So, but now it's like educating the old school way. And just, this is where I think the new generation, we're here to change that through our children and the mixes and the diversity that we're creating. And when my daughter is like, so Mom, I'm Chinese and I'm Indian and I'm Black, like, I don't get this, right? So just educating her now to like celebrate and really own that and being able to appreciate that and being her own skin and those different cultures that however she grows up and whatever she identifies with, we're here to support her through that journey. But I think this is where we're at right now in society as we're, you know, fusing in and creating more diverse, like, people, right? We need to get the education. Yeah. And like, let them know historically, where are they from?
Yes, the education part. Yeah. And just so we can dispel some of the stuff that's maybe still between us that we brought with us through the time warp and then get rid of that and move on, you know?
Yeah. Like my husband, you know, she's still Black. So we still have to educate her as a Black woman now, how to function in the society, right? But then as a 6-year-old, she's like, what do you mean I'm Black? Like, well, I'm like beige, right? So
it's true, right?
It's getting her to
that's a big thing. That's a whole other show. That's for sure.
That totally is. Yeah,
definitely.
So it's been a
thank you guys. I know it's 1:59. I'm thinking of you because we've had a little challenges today, but it's okay. We're good. This was a great show, guys, by the way. I'm going to put all of your information when we kick the video out. I think it's so important for everybody to subscribe and register and become a partner with Jelly Social. Wonderful, wonderful social enterprise. Thank you, guys. A clap up. We have a little, and you can jump out now if you want. Sanjit, you could stay to say goodbye to people with me, but we have a little commercial.
I'll sign off now. I thank you, Sandra, for the opportunity. And the conversation has been wonderful. It's true, hour does fly on by. So we look forward to reconnecting. And I'll let Sunjit do the wrap up. So thanks, Sunjit.
Oh, he will. Okay, hon. We have a little commercial for you guys. We'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Hi there, I'm Sandra Mckechney from Double Consciousness. Double Consciousness looks like this: cultural sensitivity, cultural awareness trainings. I've been doing it for 4 years. We're going into our 5th year, our 41st time on Zoom, and we're doing it. Would love you to join us. The next thing that I do is I'm a certified life coach holding space for clients in the areas of cultural awareness and sensitivity, right? So people that may have a challenge and they just want some space, a consultation, coaching opportunity to unpack implicit racial bias. Everybody's welcome, and we would love to have you in the trainings or book a consultation. And we have a free opportunity, 15 minutes if you want to have a chat and get to know me and find out where you fit in that. The next thing that I do is I am a host for Voices of Humanity out of prconnectionsradio.com. If you want to be on my podcast and you're a fit, because it does have to fit with the show, has to complement the show and the network, I would love you to get in touch with me. And I'm also, from my heart, and I've always been a singer-songwriter, and I love this stuff. I love the singing. We put it in our trainings, our cultural sensitivity and awareness trainings. So sometimes I just sing just like this. You're all that I want. You are all that I need, and you brought me here when I can't find my way. You're all that I need, and you brought me here to pray. You should hear that with my keyboard player. It's to live for. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that helps you to know who Sandra Mckechnie is. Take care. Bye for now.
Hey, this has been good. Thank you, Sunjit. Is there anything else you wanted to just leave with our people?
No, but it's been a great conversation. And I think the more conversations like this that happen, I think is just kind of good for everyone all the way around. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. It was good. Wonderful to have you guys. We should do this again. And I will keep in touch because I love what's going on. Jelly Social. Let's gel together. I think this is going to be good. I'll leave a lot of information for you. And please subscribe and be a part of the social enterprise. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Voices of Humanity. I'm Sandra Mckechnie. Wonderful to be your host. Take care. Bye for now. Okay.